Hey guys, Mr. Baines here to talk about fronts. Let's get started. Add this to your table of contents. Go ahead and pause it. All right, we're gonna learn about weather that you get, and you'll be able to hopefully read a weather map a little bit. We'll talk about cold fronts and warm fronts and be able to name air masses. Air mass is a large amount of air that has the same temperature and humidity or wetness. Okay, so air masses that come from the Gulf of Mexico are usually warm and have a lot of water vapor or moisture in it. Yeah, write down this definition in your notebook. Go ahead and pause it. All right. Types of air masses we have. You can have a dry air mass. You could have a wet air mass. You could have a warm, or you could have a cold air mass. Air masses that form over the land are dry, and we call them continental because they form over continents. Okay, so this is a continent. It's forming over the land, so it's dry. You'd write a small c to represent that. So that would be a small c. You can have maritime air masses. These are wet or moist. Okay, they're very humid. Okay, so you have wet air mass. These form over water. So if it forms in the blue, it is maritime. You can have polar air masses. So you could have, these are cold air masses because polar, the North Pole and the South Pole are both very cold. So you can have a wet and cold air mass like this one, or you could have a dry and cold air mass like this one. Yes, there's some land here, but overall this is going to be very wet. Okay. And you could also have tropical air masses. These are warm air masses. Okay, but you can have wet or maritime or continental tropical air masses. And that's how you label them, little m, capital T. Okay. What is the name of this air mass right here? Hint, it is over the ocean near the equator. Think about it. Is the equator warm or cold? All right, so is it continental tropical, maritime tropical, continental polar, or maritime polar? Write your answer in your notebook. Go ahead and pause it. The correct answer is 2, maritime tropical. It's MT, little m, big T. How about this one? It's forming over a continent near the North Pole. Is the North Pole warm or cold? Write your answer in your notebook. Go ahead and pause it. Correct answer is 3, continental polar. It's dry and cold. All right. How about this one? Is it going to be dry and cold, dry and warm, wet and warm, wet and cold? Go ahead and pause it. It is cold and wet. Cold and wet. How about this one? Dry and cold, dry and warm, wet and warm, wet and cold. Go ahead and pause it. Correct answer is 3, dry and warm. This is actually the Sahara Desert is right around this area. So this will be very dry, very warm air. All right, what do you think would happen if 2 air masses ran into each other? Write or draw your prediction in your notebook. Go ahead and pause it. The simple answer is weather would happen. Okay, so a front is a boundary between 2 different air masses. So you'll get like warm air and cold air. And this line right here would be the front because this is where they run into each other. Okay. Write this definition in your notebook. Go ahead and pause it. Okay. We're going to start with a warm front. Warm front, this red line with the half circles, this would be a warm front. That means there is warm air out front no, I'm sorry. Cold air out front, which makes sense because it's up north. Cold air out front, and then warm air is running into it. Okay, so it'll look like this. You have warm air that's running into this cold air. And as it goes up, it cools off and forms clouds and rain. All right, I made kind of a quick thing that'll turn into a GIF later, but you have the warm air starting to rise because it's less dense. It cools off as it rises until it turns into a cloud. The water vapor condenses into a liquid. This is a cloud, and then it'll start to rain. Okay. Please draw a picture of, I'm sorry, that's a warm front. Draw a picture of a warm front. Go ahead and pause it. Okay. Now let's do a cold front. Okay. This blue with the triangles, this is a cold front. So you have warm air right here, and the cold air is running into it. Okay. So the cold air is running into this warm air. This pushes the warm air up, cooling it off until it turns into liquid and then makes a cloud. It happens really fast, so it makes a really big cloud, and you can get thunderstorms. And these are the types of storms that can cause tornadoes. Okay, so I made another little animation for you. So the cold air comes in, starts pushing up the warm air. As it goes up, it cools off until it turns into a cloud and then starts to build and get bigger until it makes a cumulonimbus cloud, which means a thunder cloud. This is a thunderstorm. Okay, so really quickly again, cold air runs into the warm air raises up until it forms a cloud. Please draw a picture of a cold front. Go ahead and pause it. Okay. Which type of front produces thunderstorms and heavy precipitation or heavy rain? And where is it? Is it out in front of the front or behind of it? Ahead of the front or behind the front? Go ahead and pause it. Okay. A cold front is the correct answer. So it's one of these two. So heavy precipitation. So if we go back, heavy rain. Now, is it out in front of this line? Is the rain in front of the line or behind the line? It's behind it. So the correct answer is, oh, there's no correct answer. Shoot. Sorry, that's my fault. That should have said behind the front. Behind the front is correct. My fault. If a warm front is coming your way, so it's not here yet, but it's on the way, what kind of weather are you experiencing? Warm air and light precipitation, cold air and light precipitation, warm air and heavy precipitation, cold air and heavy precipitation, or sunny weather. Write your answer in your notebook. Go ahead and pause. Okay, the correct answer to this is, go back to our warm front. So if you are out here, so the warm front's coming, it's not here yet, and you're out here, you might be experiencing rain or cold air. So light rain and cold air is the correct answer. Cold air and light precipitation would be B. Okay. We should have talked about this when we talked about air pressure, but air pressure can cause, there it is. Air pressure causes the weather, can cause the weather. So we have a low pressure here, and you're gonna have rain out in front here and rain out behind here. So this low pressure is usually associated with bad weather. The high pressure is associated with good weather. And the reason for this is in a low pressure, wind is blowing into it, and then that wind has to go somewhere, so it goes up. It goes up and then starts to cool off, because as you go up, it gets cold. And then this cold air rises and makes clouds. okay, because the cold air will turn into little water droplets. Okay, in a high pressure, the pressure is running into it up top, and that pressure has to go somewhere, so it goes down and then pushes out this way. This is warm air. So this cold air, as it sinks, it heats back up, and so you actually get really good weather in high pressure systems. So we like high pressure. So sunny equals high pressure, rainy and cloudy equals low pressure. Fill in the blanks. Low pressure means what? And high pressure means what? Go ahead and pause it. Correct answer is C. Low pressure means bad weather. High pressure means good weather. That is it for this video, and I will see you guys next time.